another little hatchet, but this is going to be a friction fit hatchet that I'm going to utilize a tomahawk handle with. So I'm going to be drifting it out with my tomahawk drift versus my hatchet drift. So I got everything marked out. It's going to be a small hatchet, I think. It's going to have a little bit of a hammer area in the back and the blade on the front. So I kind of got this piece of metal prepped. This is a piece of real thick leaf spring that I've cut and then to shape. So go ahead and get this in the forge and start banging out start drifting out the hole here, the eye. I got my hole drifted in. I'm going to start tapering this edge now. Alright, so I'm using my cross peen. I'm going to try to widen front of the little axe here with the cross peen. Kind of coming down at an angle. Keeping the blows away from the eye, trying to anyways. And I'm just kind of rotating this side, this side, this side. I'm just trying to keep it even as I go out. So I am doing this one a little bit different than the ones I've done in the past. typically, after I punch through, because right now I've just been through with the chisel, but typically after I punch through, I start to do a little bit of drifting, and I'll drift it about halfway the size of what it's going to be. But what I've found after doing a few of these is that when I start to widen the blade, it distorts the eye a whole lot. And trying to keep the eye in check as I broaden out and lengthen the blade, I've been running out of room on my drift. So it gets to the point where the drift is sinking all the way down through the eye before I get the front of the little axe here formed. So this time, yeah, like I said, I did a little different. I just punched it and then I went straight to widening this out. Now I'm not going to widen it out all the way, but I'm going to get it probably about 80%. Then I'm going to come back and start to do some drifting, pulling some cheeks down, this, that, and the other, because that's just something I've noticed doing a few of these now. At least the one piece, the solid axe heads. That, yeah, I just find myself running out of drift space, and that's what we're trying to avoid. All right, as I widen this, it starts to upset right on the edge, almost like a, kind of makes this concave. So if I continue to broaden this without keeping that in check by hammering it back down, eventually this will curve and get to the point where it almost closes up, makes like a cold shell. So you have to keep that in check as you go. And it helps to profile it little by little. So this is going to be the bottom. I'm already starting to kind of pull that down further and keep the top flatter. So it's incremental. Do some broadening, do some profiling, get the upsets out on the top and the bottom. Do more broadening. It's just go back and forth until you get it to the size you want. Now I'm gonna go ahead and kind of make an isolated area, kind of determine where the eye area is going to be and the blade. So it's going to make it a little bit easier as I get it on the edge of the anvil. To continue to broaden out the front. Got to make sure I'm not down into the eye as I'm doing this. So you can kind of see why the eye gets so distorted when you're trying to profile what the blade's going to look like. And that's why I've decided not to do any kind of drifting right now. So it's about my third heat with the guillotine tool. Probably be my last. Kind of see, I kind of got a line where I can start to go forward with it. Try to stay away from this area here, but I'm going to get back on them with the cross pins and just go back to what I was doing before. All right, so I get my cross pin and work up in this area here. Just in front of the eye. Taking care to stay away from that. Hitting the eye area. Yeah, just like I did there twice. Alright. So I'm just getting rid of this hump. So when you're dealing with metal, you're starting off this pretty thick, pretty bulky, like 1 inch square stock or something, or this is was quite a bit bigger than that, but it's slow going at first, but the thinner you get the metal, the faster it starts to move. It's still broadening. At the same time, trying to keep everything upset in check, keep the profile in check. So we're whittling it down. And it is starting to move a lot faster now that it's getting thinner. So we'll continue. So I had to stop and clean the front up. I was getting some fish lips up in the front, which means it's starting to shape like this. And if I would have kept going with it, it would eventually close up, and then it'd make a cold shut. So I had to clean the front of the axe up to prevent that from happening. So it's just more of that. Alright, I will say I got the blade about halfway where I want it. I'm going to start to add in another dimension in the profile. Going to kind of do two things. It's going to make it going to make the axe head longer. Keep this in check as I do it. It's going to make the axe head longer, and I'm going to put a swoop at the bottom of the axe, and on the top I'm going to try to keep it flat. It might fan up a little bit. So I'm going to go back and forth between the horn and the flat, using my straight peen here. think you're kind of starting to see the shape I'm going for. One thing to watch out for when using your horn though, the horn is tapered, so it'll get it really crooked really fast if you don't use both sides of it. Ideally just a round bar set up in the jig and your hardy hole would be the best tool. Alright, so I'm not quite getting the movement I want, so I'm going to get this big hammer and just kind of concentrate it. Right behind the blade. And that seems to be pushing that front down like I want. Yep. Not bad. I think it did what I wanted it to do. Yeah, flatten that down really nice. I'm going to take one more heat doing that. Alright, so there's the shape where we're at so far. And I've really just been going back and forth between the straight peen getting the profile in here and stretching out the top, and the cross peen still making it wider and broader. So it is starting to move a little bit quicker as I get it thinned down. So I'll press on. So I'm getting pretty close to my, I'm going to say final dimension, but a good starting point to start focusing on the eye. But before I do, I'm going to clean up some of these peen marks. Do some plenishing and some straightening. I'm not going to get too crazy with it because when I start drifting that eye, it's probably going to tweak the blade a bit. But I do want to keep it kind of close. So here's where we're at so far. Shaping up pretty good. Of course, this is going to grow as I start to drift that out. You can see how much it closed up here on the bottom, so I'm going to start drifting from the top, hopefully to push all that metal that's been upsetted down in the hole in the eye back out, and then it'll give us that to work with. But yep, I'm gonna start focusing on the drifting the eye out now, and hopefully everything stays pretty close to where it's going to be. drift in there. And I'm trying to get some cheeks pulled down here. I think slowly but surely we're getting it. This is a big old piece of steel, so it's going to take a minute to move it. It's stuck. Just have a fat spot in my. Go. So I'm going to switch to another hammer. So this is kind of a rounder. We'll work with this for a while, see what it does. Alright, so I'm far enough up to drift, I can get rid of that plate I had up here. A little nub's breaking off. I don't know if I'm going to need it anymore anyways. Huh. I drift without a fat spot right around in here somewhere. Alright, so I'm kind of nearing the end of the drift. And I'm going to start doing some straightening out again. Make sure everything's going to be nice and straight. Kind of where things kind of get tricky. Make sure wonkiness. Kind of make sure that the edge of the tomahawk is going to line up with the indexing of the handle. I know it's getting cold, but I'm not really doing anything but just trying to actually bend it, straighten it out. Alright, so while I got a little bit of this nub left on here, it's breaking off at a rapid rate. I'm going to finish off the forging on the blade. And I think we'll make one more pass with the drift. I think that'll do it. Looks like everything out front looks pretty good. Alright, I'll get this thing in the drift and take it over to the vise here. Try to make sure everything's straight. Twisted. A little bit twisted. Alright, you can probably be happy with that. Alright, so my little nub finally broke off. Spin this thing around and kind of just check everything out. Kind of seat this. It's got a little wink in the back. Woo! That was pretty good. That looks pretty good. Alright, so I think I'm going to call the forging done. I've done multiple normalization cycles, so this thing is ready for the belt sander to be profiled and ground down to set up for heat treat. But yeah, we're going to end this video here. I will show you some pictures of the axe head when it comes off the grinder, but I'm not going to video any of the heat treat or any of the handling. So, but you can keep your eyes peeled on my Instagram. I will post pictures of the axe when it's all finished on Instagram, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But as far as this video goes, we're going to go ahead and just stop at the forging. So with that, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to thank you guys for stopping by. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and yeah, we will catch you on the next one.